Lily's dream machine. Lily dabbed a final drop of chrome paint onto Sparky's nose, its LED sensors blinking a cheerful blue. The metallic scent of solder hung in the air, a comforting aroma that spoke of late nights and triumphant breakthroughs. Months of work, fueled by lukewarm coffee and sheer stubbornness, had led to this moment. Sparky wasn't just a robot dog, he was a masterpiece, a testament to her vision. "Okay, buddy," as she murmured, patting Sparky's smooth, synthetic fur. "Time to wow the world." She straightened, adjusted her glasses, and clicked on the holographic projector. A shimmering image of Sparky filled her cramped apartment, showcasing his features: advanced AI, voice command recognition, obstacle avoidance. She cleared her throat, launching into her presentation. Sparky represents a paradigm shift in companionship technology. She began, her voice a little shaky at first. She imagined Mr. Henderson, the CEO, nodding approvingly, his usually stern face softening with admiration. She pictured Sarah, her skeptical colleague, green with envy. In her mind, she was a rock star, fielding questions with ease, her passion contagious. And with his adaptable learning algorithms, Sparky can be personalized to meet the unique needs of each individual user, as she concluded, striking a confident pose. A loud meow shattered her reverie. Mittens, her actual, non-robotic cat, was perched on the kitchen counter, batting at a dangling houseplant. Lily sighed, a smile tugging at her lips. Reality was a little less glamorous than her fantasy, but the core of her project, the potential within Sparky, remained undeniable. Carefully, Lily disconnected Sparky from the charging station. His weight was substantial, a solid reminder of the intricate engineering within. She nestled him securely in the padded carrying case, next to the neatly bound presentation documents. She double-checked her laptop bag, making sure the demonstration software was loaded and ready. A thrill of anticipation, sharp and invigorating, coursed through her. This wasn't just another project, this was her shot. She could feel it, a hum beneath her skin, a quiet certainty that all the sacrifices, all the sleepless nights, were about to pay off. Taking one last look around her apartment, she grabbed her keys and headed out the door, Sparky's silent promise tucked safely by her side. The city buzzed with the morning rush, but Lily barely noticed. She was already mentally rehearsing her opening statement, visualizing the impressed faces, tasting the sweet victory of success. Today was the day. Shadows of envy. Lily practically vibrated with excitement, her fingers flying across the keyboard, coaxing Sparky, her robotic dog project, to heel on the screen. Mark watched from his deliberately cluttered desk, a knot tightening in his stomach. He swiveled away, pretending to be engrossed in schematics that had remained untouched for weeks. Her laughter, a bright, silvery sound, grated on him. It was always like this. Lily, radiating enthusiasm, effortlessly captivating everyone with her infectious energy and, worse, her talent. He heard her exclaim, "Yes." Finally got the gate smooth. Mark clenched his jaw. He'd been struggling with a similar walking algorithm for his own, far less imaginative, robotic arm project. He'd even casually asked Lily for advice, fishing for clues, but she just smiled, all innocent helpfulness, and offered vague suggestions about force vectors. Now, seeing her triumph, the goal was unbearable. The office lights flickered, signaling the impending end of the workday. Lily stretched, stifling a yawn. Almost there, as she mumbled, saving her work meticulously. Just need to run a final simulation tomorrow. She gathered her things, her face alight with satisfaction. "See you tomorrow, Mark." He grunted a reply, barely meeting her eyes. As soon as the elevator doors chimed shut, he was up, pacing. The idea had been simmering for days. A dark, tempting impulse. He knew her password. She'd scribbled it on a post-it note stuck to her monitor for weeks, Sparky 123, before finally taking it down. He waited an hour, nursing a lukewarm coffee, until the building settled into its after-hours quiet. The cleaning crew had already made their rounds. He slipped back into the office, the click of his shoes echoing in the otherwise silent space. Lily's workstation glowed softly. He hesitated for a moment, a flicker of guilt, quickly extinguished by the burning ember of envy. He logged in. Her files were neatly organized, folders labeled with infuriating precision, a Sparky_V1, a gate_algorithm, a sensor_data. Each one a testament to her skill, each one a dagger twisting in his pride. With a few clicks, he selected the entire project folder. A long, drawn-out breath escaped him as he dragged it to the recycle bin, then emptied the bin with a decisive keystroke. Gone. Erased. No trace left behind. He logged out, his heart hammering against his ribs. As he walked out of the building, the city lights blurring through the glass doors, he felt a strange mix of relief and a gnawing unease. He told himself it was for the best. Now, maybe, just maybe, he could finally get the recognition he deserved. Maybe now, people would see his talent. The missing files. Lily hummed along to the upbeat pop song filtering through her earbuds, a nervous energy thrumming beneath her skin. Today was the day. Months of work, countless late nights fueled by instant noodles and sheer willpower, had culminated in this presentation. The Zenith Project. Her baby. She meticulously arranged printouts of key diagrams on the conference table, ensuring each was perfectly aligned. The projector whirred to life, casting a pale rectangle onto the far wall. Stepping back, Lily admired her handiwork. Everything was perfect. Or it would be, as soon as she opened the project folder. Her fingers danced across the keyboard, navigating to the designated drive. A double click. The folder opened. Empty. The pop song stuttered to a halt in her ears. Lily blinked, convinced her eyes were playing tricks on her. She clicked back, then forward again. Still empty. Every file, the meticulously crafted proposal, the painstakingly rendered 3D models, the detailed budget spreadsheets, gone. Vanished. A cold dread seeped into her bones, replacing the nervous excitement with a chilling fear. This couldn't be happening. Not now. Not after everything. Panic clawed at her throat, making it difficult to breathe. She slammed the laptop shut and reopened it, praying for a miraculous recovery. Nothing. She tried searching for individual file names, her fingers flying across the keyboard in a desperate frenzy. Error messages mocked her from the screen. No, 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 as she whispered, her voice trembling. With 5 minutes to spare, Lily bolted from the conference room, heels clicking frantically on the polished floor. She burst into the IT department, her face flushed, her voice a strained plea. My project files, they're gone. Vanished. I have a presentation in 5 minutes. The IT guy, a young man with perpetually tired eyes, barely glanced up from his screen. Did you check the recycle bin? Of course, I checked the recycle bin. Lily snapped, her voice rising. This is a disaster. Can you recover them? Please. He sighed, finally swiveling his chair to face her. I can try, but data recovery takes time. And if they've been overwritten? He trailed off, his expression apologetic. Lily's shoulders slumped. Overwritten. The word echoed in her mind, a death knell to her hopes. The Zenith Project, her dreams, everything, erased. The door to the conference room opened, and Mr. Harrison, her boss, appeared, his brow furrowed. "Lily, we're ready to start. Is everything all right?" Lily stared at him, her mouth suddenly dry. The weight of the situation crashed down on her, crushing her beneath its enormity. She opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out. All she could manage was a helpless, devastated shake of her head. A smirk in the crowd. Lily's heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the sudden silence. The screen was frozen, a mocking testament to her failed presentation. Years of research, weeks of meticulous preparation, all vanished in a digital puff of smoke. "Well," she began, her voice trembling only slightly, "it seems we're experiencing a technical difficulty." A nervous laugh rippled through the audience. Ms. Ainsworth, seated in the front row, offered a small, encouraging nod. Lily took a deep breath, forcing herself to think. She knew the data inside and out. She could salvage this. Instead of relying on the visuals, as she announced, trying for a confident tone, "I'll walk you through the key findings. Let's start with the initial hypotheses," as she launched into a spirited summary, drawing diagrams on the whiteboard, her mind racing to recall every statistic, every nuance. The initial awkwardness faded as she spoke, her passion for the project reigniting. She could feel herself regaining control, the presentation morphing into a more dynamic, albeit unplanned, session. Then she saw it. A smirk. Across the room, partially hidden behind a pillar, Mark Olson was smirking. Not a sympathetic grimace, not a polite smile masking discomfort. A genuine, self-satisfied smirk. Lily's stomach clenched. The blood drained from her face. It was a fleeting expression, gone in an instant, replaced by a mask of bland concern as he caught her eye. But she had seen it. The rest of the presentation passed in a blur. She finished strong, answering questions with a forced composure, but the seed of suspicion had been planted, and it was growing rapidly. Afterward, as people filed out, Lily approached Miss Ainsworth, her hands clammy. "Miss Ainsworth, could I have a word?" In Miss Ainsworth's office, surrounded by neatly stacked files and the scent of old books, Lily poured out her suspicions. "I know it sounds crazy, but I think Mark sabotaged my presentation." She recounted the missing files, the frozen screen, and the smirk. Ms. Ainsworth listened patiently, her expression unreadable. When Lily finished, she steepled her fingers. "Lily, I understand your frustration. This was a significant setback. However, accusations without proof can be damaging. Do you have any concrete evidence?" Lily deflated. "No. Just or a feeling." And the smirk. "Feelings are important, Lily, but they're not evidence. Focus on recovering the data. See if IT can retrieve the files. If you find something definitive, come back to me. But until then, let's concentrate on finding a solution, not placing blame." Ms. Ainsworth's tone was firm but not unkind. Lily nodded, feeling a mix of relief and frustration. Ms. Ainsworth was right, of course. But the smirk, it haunted her. Rebuilding and revenge. The slam of the apartment door echoed the fury churning inside her. Lily kicked off her shoes, the familiar comfort of her worn carpet doing little to soothe the sting of betrayal. Exhaustion tugged at her, but sleep was a distant luxury. Tonight, she rebuilt. She bypassed the kitchen, ignoring the beckoning allure of take-out menus. The only sustenance she needed was righteous anger, and maybe a family-sized bag of cheddar popcorn. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, lines of code materializing on the screen like digital brushstrokes. Each keystroke was a tiny act of defiance, a refusal to be defeated. The glow of the monitor illuminated her focused face. She remembered every function, every algorithm, every carefully crafted line. It was all there, etched in her memory. The satisfaction of recreating her work, piece by piece, was a balm to her wounded pride. Hours blurred. The popcorn bag lay empty, a casualty of her relentless focus. Sunlight began to peek through the blinds. As she approached the final stages of replication, a mischievous glint sparked in her eyes. Revenge wasn't her usual style, but an opportunity had presented itself, too tempting to ignore. She added a small, innocuous subroutine, a digital booby trap. It lay dormant, waiting for a specific trigger. When activated, it would unleash a torrent of a silly string. From the ceiling-mounted dispenser she'd rigged up last year for April Fool's Day. And a strategically placed, remote-controlled tickle monster arm she designed for her niece. Lily chuckled, picturing Mark's flustered face, covered in colourful strands and writhing from the mechanical tickler. It was petty, childish, maybe even a little mean, but it was exactly what he deserved. A harmless dose of humiliation to match the professional damage he had inflicted. With a final click, the project was complete, the surprise safely embedded. A wave of fatigue finally crashed over her. Lily saved the file, backed it up 3 times, and shut down her computer. As she crawled into bed, the image of Mark tangled in a chaotic mess of plastic strings brought a genuine smile to her face. She drifted off to sleep, dreaming of tickle monsters and sweet, sweet justice. The confrontation. The harsh fluorescent lights of the office seemed to amplify the tremor in Lily's hands as she approached Mark's desk. He was hunched over his keyboard, whistling a jaunty tune that grated on her already frayed nerves. "Mark, can I talk to you for a second?" Her voice wavered despite her best efforts. He swiveled in his chair, a smarmy grin spreading across his face. "Lily, what can I do for you?" Still reeling from yesterday's presentation? Lily's stomach clenched. "You know exactly what I want to talk about. My files, Mark. The ones that were corrupted." His smile didn't falter. "Corrupted? That's terrible. What a stroke of bad luck. Technology, eh? You just never know." He leaned back, lacing his fingers behind his head, an infuriatingly casual pose. "Did you back them up, at least?" "Don't play dumb with me, Mark. I know it was you." The accusation hung in the air, thick and heavy. She watched his face, searching for any flicker of guilt, any sign of remorse. He chuckled, a low, dismissive sound. "Lily, Lily, Lily. That's quite an accusation. Do you have any proof? Or are you just bitter because your vision didn't quite land?" He let the last word drip with condescension. "The timestamps on the files, the fact that only my project was affected, the way you were smirking all morning," Lily's voice rose with each point. "Circumstantial at best," Mark countered, his eyes glinting with amusement. "Look, I understand you're upset, but throwing baseless accusations around isn't going to get you anywhere. Maybe you should focus on improving your presentation skills instead of blaming others for your shortcomings." He turned back to his computer, effectively dismissing her. Lily stood there, her anger simmering. He was denying it, outright, with that infuriating smirk plastered on his face. He thought he'd won. "There will be a second presentation," Lily announced, her voice suddenly clear and steady. Mark swiveled back around, his eyebrows raised in surprise. Ms. Ainsworth emerged from her office, her expression a mixture of curiosity and concern. A second presentation? Ms. Ainsworth questioned, her voice calm but firm. Lily met her gaze, her resolve hardening. Yes, Ms. Ainsworth. I've managed to recover enough data to present a revised version. I believe it will be ready by the end of the week. Mark's smug expression faltered, replaced by a flicker of something Lily couldn't quite decipher. Surprise, perhaps, or even a hint of fear. Ms. Ainsworth nodded slowly. Very well, Lily. I look forward to seeing it. She turned her attention back to Mark, her gaze lingering for a moment before she retreated back into her office. Lily didn't miss the subtle warning in her boss's eyes, a promise of consequences should Mark's involvement be proven. And somehow, Lily knew she would prove it. The prank unleashed. Lily adjusted the small microphone clipped to her lapel, her heart doing a nervous jig. Sparky stood obediently beside her, a sleek, almost cuddly version of his former self. Today, she would show them what she was capable of. She caught Mark's eye. He smirked, radiating a smug confidence that tightened the knot in her stomach. She ignored him. Good morning, everyone, Lily began, her voice surprisingly steady. As you know, Sparky suffered some damage during the initial demonstration. I've spent the last few weeks rebuilding him, incorporating several key improvements. She gestured to the robot dog. Is now more responsive, more durable, and/or possesses a few surprise features I think you'll all enjoy. Mark's smirk widened. He clearly thought he had her cornered. Let him think that. This wasn't just about proving him wrong, it was about showing everyone, including herself, that she wouldn't back down. She walked to a small console and typed in a command. Now, for Sparky's final demonstration. I call this Operation Tickle Torture. A confused murmur rippled through the room. Mark's eyebrows furrowed, his smugness momentarily faltering. Lily pressed enter. Sparky sprang to life, his movements surprisingly agile. But instead of performing a complex task, he locked onto Mark. Two small compartments on either side of Sparky's head popped open, revealing miniature cannons. With a whirring sound, they unleashed a barrage of brightly colored silly string. Mark yelped, shielding his face as he was engulfed in a sticky, rainbow-hued mess. But Sparky wasn't finished. From his undercarriage, two extendable arms sprouted, each tipped with soft, feathery brushes. They zeroed in on Mark, relentlessly tickling his sides, his neck, even the soles of his shoes. Mark, usually so composed, squirmed, his face turning a comical shade of red. A strangled laugh escaped him. He tried to swat Sparky away, but the robot dog was too quick, dodging his clumsy attempts with ease. The room erupted in laughter. Even some of the more stoic executives couldn't suppress a chuckle. Lily allowed herself a small, triumphant smile. It wasn't malicious, but it was definitely satisfying. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Lily typed in another command, halting Sparky's assault. The robot dog returned to her side, wagging his tail innocently. Mark stood there, covered in silly string, his hair a tangled mess, his face still flushed. The smirk was gone, replaced by a look of bewildered embarrassment. As you can see, Lily said, her voice calm and professional, Sparky has a playful side. He's also extremely effective at stress testing. She paused, a hint of mischief in her eyes. And apparently, at administering a little corporate karma. Laughter and confession. The robot, still whirring slightly, pivoted. Its arm, previously extended in a gesture of greeting, now swiveled downwards. A hidden compartment clicked open, revealing not circuits or wires, but a canister of brightly colored silly string. With a mechanical hiss, the robot unleashed a torrent of the plastic strands, directly at Mark. The audience erupted. Laughter, loud and unrestrained, filled the auditorium. Applause thundered. It was the perfect, unexpected punchline. Lily, momentarily stunned, couldn't help but crack a smile. Ms. Ainsworth, her lips twitching, observed the scene with a knowing glint in her eyes. Mark stood frozen, plastered in pink, blue, and yellow plastic. His meticulously styled hair was now a sticky, tangled mess. The smirk he'd worn earlier had vanished, replaced by a look of utter mortification. The laughter seemed to bounce off him, each peal a tiny hammer blow against his pride. He looked at Lily, then at Ms. Ainsworth, finally dropping his gaze to the floor. The festive spray, intended to humiliate Lily, had backfired spectacularly. The sweet taste of victory he'd anticipated turned sour in his mouth, replaced by a bitter tang of shame. He took a step forward, pushing through the lingering strands of silly string that clung to him like accusing fingers. His voice, when he spoke, was barely a whisper. "Lily," he said, his eyes meeting hers with a flicker of genuine remorse. I sabotaged your project." A collective gasp rippled through the audience, quickly fading into a stunned silence. Mark continued, his voice gaining strength with each word. "I deleted your files. I thought it would make me look better. That I would finally get the recognition I deserve." He paused, swallowing hard. "But I was wrong. What I did was wrong. And I am so sorry." He looked directly at Ms. Ainsworth. "I accept full responsibility for my actions and any consequences that follow." Then, turning back to Lily, his voice cracking, "I hope, someday, you can forgive me." He stood there, covered in silly string, a picture of pathetic contrition. A new beginning. Lily stared at Mark, the fluorescent lights of the lab reflecting in her wide eyes. "Apology accepted," as she said, the words feeling a little stiff, a little formal. "But this isn't just about me, Mark. It's about the project, about the team. We need to be able to trust each other, to be honest. Teamwork only works when we're all pulling in the same direction." Mark shifted, the smirk gone, replaced by something that looked almost like genuine remorse. "You're right, Lily. And I messed up. Big time." He ran a hand through his already disheveled hair. "I really am sorry. I'll do whatever it takes to earn back your trust." Lily nodded, a small smile gracing her lips. "Okay. Then let's start by fixing the robot dog." They spent the next few days practically living in the lab, fueled by lukewarm coffee and sheer determination. Lily, initially hesitant, found herself surprised by Mark's insights. He wasn't just a saboteur, he had genuinely good ideas about the dog's gait, suggesting subtle adjustments to the servo motors that improved its balance significantly. Lily, in turn, refined his suggestions, streamlining the code for a more efficient response time. It was a strange, almost symbiotic relationship. Ms. Ainsworth, observing their progress, offered subtle guidance, a quiet word of encouragement here, a technical suggestion there. Her presence was a constant reassurance, a steady hand guiding them towards success. The revised robot dog was a revelation. It moved with a fluid grace, its sensors responding instantly to commands. Its bark, previously a tinny screech, was now a surprisingly realistic woof. During the final presentation, the dog bounded across the stage, performing tricks with an almost uncanny intelligence. The room erupted in applause. Later, Miss Ainsworth approached them, a warm smile lighting up her face. "Well done, you two. A remarkable turnaround." She paused, her gaze sharp but kind. "Lily, your creativity and resilience are truly impressive. Mark, your technical skills are undeniable. The key is to channel those skills constructively." As they packed up their equipment, Mark clapped Lily on the shoulder. "We make a pretty good team, Chen." Lily grinned. "Yeah, Olsen. We do." Maybe, just maybe, this was a new beginning, not just for the project, but for something more. A friendship, perhaps, forged in the fires of competition and tempered by a healthy dose of humility. And with Miss Ainsworth as their mentor, who knew what they could achieve? The possibilities felt limitless.